You can make tayammum. And Umar forgot about that, didn't he? He told him, hey, don't you remember? We asked the Prophet, me and you. We asked him, and he told us we could do this. Umar forgot so much, he had forgotten it so much that he told him, Ittaqillah ya Ammar. He said, fear Allah. That didn't happen. And Ammar said, yes, it did. But he said, if you want, I won't tell people. I'll just be quiet about it. He said, no. It's a hadith. You got to tell what? You got to tell the people. I'm wrong. Umar admitted he was what? Wrong. Even though Ammar was not on the same level as who? As Umar. What was the second example? Somebody remember, huh? Tell me about it. Ma'ruf.
He was saying that he was trying to reduce the price of the dowry.
They were given the dowry, the marriage gifts, were going what? Higher and higher. He was worried about ghala al-mahr. He was worried about the mahr just being too expensive and young people couldn't get married. It's like, why is he giving all this money to women? They shouldn't be doing that. He said, you know what? Let's just make it what the Prophet gave. I'm just gonna make, that's what it's gotta be. And he even said, if somebody gives more than that, arudduhu. He said, if somebody gives more than that, I'm gonna reject it. I'm not gonna let that marriage go through. That's what he said. And a woman was in the audience. A woman. Now you gotta figure this is a time when women generally didn't speak, and they definitely didn't speak to power or speak truth to power. She said, Ya mu'mineen, lima tuharrimna shay'an a'tana Allahu iyah. Why are you going to deny us something Allah gave us? He said, what are you talking about? Allah gave y'all. She said, she recited the ayah from Surah An-Nisa, وَآتَيْتُمْ إِحْدَاهُنَّ قِنْطَارًا فَلَا تَأْخُذُوا مِنْهُ شَيْئًا. If you give one of them a treasure chest, which is a lot more than what the Prophet gave to his wives. If you give them a treasure chest, you give them a large sum of money, you can't take back any of it if it doesn't work out. Y'all see that? So and some of the narrators in this report, as Ibn Taymiyyah he mentioned in his book Raf al-Malam an al-A'imma al-A'lam. In that book he mentioned that Umar, he said, Asabat imra'ah wa akhta Umar, that a woman was right and Umar was wrong. Look at that. Admitted that what? He didn't bully her, he didn't tell her, I'm Umar, you gotta listen to me. He didn't belittle her. You're a woman. Be quiet. And he didn't distract. He didn't make a distraction. Oh, you being disrespectful. How you gonna speak up in front of? Be modest. You being immodest, right? You're supposed to be seen, not heard. Like he didn't do that. He didn't distract because regardless whether she was immodest or not, that doesn't make him right. Y'all see that? So now, after we gave this example, and again, we were trying to point out the micro problem and the macro problem. Micro problem is this particular principle, we're not following it. All too often, and there was an incident this week that really, really disturbed me, that again, you have people who should know better. And when they get confronted, they get asked, hey, you said this, Jazakallah khair, I appreciate you giving your fatwa or whatever, but can you give me the dalil? Can you give me the evidence? And they start to what? They start to bully. I'm a PhD. I graduated from such and such university. You gonna ask me for evidence? Yeah, I'm gonna ask you for evidence. Everybody should be asked for evidence. Everybody. It doesn't matter who they are. After that, after bullying, belittling. Who are you? Who are you to ask me? Again, I don't have to be somebody special to ask you for evidence. And Imam Malik, he said, كُلٌّ يُؤْخَذْ مِنْ قَوْلِهِ وَيُرَدْ إِلَّا صَاحِبْ هَذَا الْقَبْرِ وَأَشَارَ إِلَى قَبْرِ النَّبِيِّ صلى الله عليه وسلم. Imam Malik, during his lifetime, he said, every alim, you can take his statement and you can reject it. Based upon what? The evidence. Except who? Except the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Everybody else you can question. Everybody else can be questioned. Then, after that, deflecting. Distraction. Oh, you're rushing to judgment. You're rushing to judgment. What does that do? That puts the person who's asking the question on the defensive. Puts them on the defensive. No, don't put them on the defensive. Just give the deal. If you so right, you should be able to what? You should be able to support your opinion with evidence. What does Allah say in the Quran? قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Wallahi, ya late. I wish the Muslims would memorize, if they're going to memorize anything from the Quran, memorize this ayah. Produce your proof if you're truthful. Come on, man, you ask somebody for evidence to prove their position, and they talk and talk and talk and never produce evidence. Automatically, what is Allah telling you? They ain't telling the truth. قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Come on, produce your proof if you're truthful. You don't have an ayah, you don't have a hadith to support none of that. And all this bullying and belittling and distraction. Oh, look, there's a unicorn over there. Why? طيب. So that was the micro. The macro is that once we open that door to being people who don't have principles, once we open that door, you can't shut it. You can't say, well, we're not going to practice this, but we're going to practice this, because somebody else is going to say, yeah, I don't mind practicing that, but I don't want to practice this. And if you don't have to practice this, I don't have to practice that. Y'all see that? We got to be people of principles, or we're going to be like these non-Muslims. And we live in a time, brothers and sisters, where just nobody has principles. Nobody stands on anything that they claim to stand on. Let's look at the international community, UN. Why was the UN established? UN was established to promote social progress, better living standards, and human rights. To develop friendly relations among the nations, to stop all these senseless wars, and stop bigger nations from what? From bullying smaller nations, conquering smaller nations, occupying the land of smaller nations, to uphold international law, right? Uphold international law, like you can't starve people as a weapon of war. Y'all see that? Are they upholding that? In Palestine? Are they doing any of that? All they do is vote and then get their votes vetoed. That's all they do. While they see people getting slaughtered and dying from famine over there. Come on, useless. You don't stand on nothing you claim you believe in. Fake politicians. They swear to protect Americans from enemies, foreign and domestic. Their job is to what? To keep us safe. That's one of the jobs they have. But they refuse to do anything to stop the proliferation of assault rifles and the school and mass shootings that come what? That are committed using those rifles. There was just one yesterday. Yesterday in Nashville, yes. Y'all didn't hear about that? Yeah, there was a school shooting in Nashville just yesterday. And it's the sad thing, some of us haven't even heard about it. Because why? It's so common. It's so common.
Or the media doesn't want to.
I mean, they talk about it too, but we're just immune. We're numb. We're numb. And well, they say hey, we're gonna keep people safe, and we'll make laws to keep people safe. They won't do nothing on guns. Nothing on guns. They don't even pretend to say they're gonna do something on guns. Like American Christian, they support a man who mocks their Bible and their God, and they take him as a God. They take him as a God. I'm gonna ask you honestly, some of y'all been living 30, 40, 50 years in this country, and you've seen many elections. I'm gonna ask you honestly, have you seen any election where after the election is over, you'll still have a billboard with the candidate's name on it? Biden, Obama, Bush. Have you ever seen that? You've never seen that. During the vacation I was driving, there were billboards in some of the places I traveled to. Billboards, like large billboards off the highway, Trump, just with that joker's name. You never had a candidate where the lawn signs, after the election is over, the lawn sign is still there. You go to some places, Trump. Jokers in there, pane glass windows in the front of their house, right? They don't have like nice curtains and drapes. No, they got what? Jokers have a big flag of Trump in their pane glass window. Jokers have conferences and they sit there and they like almost bow down to this person. And there are actually articles that have been written where people talk about how they've gone to conferences where Christians worshiped at the altar of Trump. They worship what? They worship Trump. Okay? No principles. No principle whatsoever. Got even pastors. You can go online, see, talking about, yeah, we're part of a cult, the cult of Trump. Pastors admitting this online. Like members of law enforcement voting for a convicted felon, endorsing a convicted felon. Law enforcement endorsed a convicted felon. Come on, man, no principle. You want no principle? We enforce the law and then we vote for a felon. How does that work? The ADL, we gave this example in the khutbah, defending a billionaire who performed the Nazi salute, just bending themselves into a pretzel to defend a billionaire who made the Nazi salute. Look, the bottom line that we were trying to convey in the khutbah is this, man, we can't be like this. We can't be like this. We can't behave as if we don't have principles whatsoever. We should not be the people who can be bought and sold. We can't be the people who, look, if you can't beat them, join them. That's not us. That's not us. But a lot of us are behaving like this. We don't have principles. We don't have values. We don't have immutable truths. It just depends on what day it is and what the circumstance is and what my interests are. We can't be those people. And so that was basically a revisiting, expanding on the khutbah. And if there are any questions or comments or critiques, we'll take those now, inshallah ta'ala. Anybody? Anybody? Yeah, I got one here. You want to start, Robbie? You want to start us off? Yeah. All right, do me a favor. Pass that one back and then take this one. تفضل.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So just to, add a little bit of a comment on what he said about it, like politicians doing nothing about guns, even though, we may not necessarily need to have an assault rifle except for maybe security, police, or those kinds of purposes. Mm-hmm. And like me coming from Texas, the sad thing is it's actually easier if you're like 18 years old to get an assault rifle, but you have to be 21 to have a handgun. Like that makes no sense to me.
Yeah. That's a very good point, Robbie. Thank you for saying that. I did not know that. I thought that.
No, I'm good.
Good. Like anybody else? Going once? Going twice? Sold? Ma'roof. $100,000, brother. No, I'm just joking with you. Like, okay.